Oh, my friends, here we are, beginning a journey towards prosperity, and I, Scrooge McDuck, will be your guide. If you want to learn how to make your money work for you, the first thing you need to understand is something I call your emergency fund. But what is this, you ask? Come on, get ready to dive into this topic. Life is full of surprises, isn't it? Sometimes good, sometimes not so much. Has it ever happened that you were doing well at work, suddenly your car breaks down, or you receive an unexpected bill? Well, my friend, the unexpected is always lurking. But fear not. There is a way to be prepared for these surprises. It's an emergency fund. The emergency reserve is, as the name suggests, a fund of money that you save for unforeseen situations. That's right, that extra money that you put aside and leave there, quietly, only to be used in emergencies. And look, you don't have to spend it for nothing. The idea is that, when something unexpected happens, such as a medical expense, an urgent repair, or even losing your job, you have the security cushion to cover these unforeseen events without having to resort to credit cards or expensive loans. Now, let's look at an important lesson I've learned over the years. A good emergency fund should be enough to cover at least 3 to 6 months of your essential expenses. Yes, you read that correctly. 3 to 6 months. It seems pretty good, right? But think with me, my friend. It is much safer to have this reserve than to live at the mercy of any surprise that fate throws your way. Now, tell me, have you ever thought about how you would start this reservation? It might be a little scary, but don't worry. Start with whatever is possible. If you manage to save a little bit every month, you will soon see the amount growing. After all, the secret to accumulating wealth is not in big leaps, but in consistent steps. Remember that even the smallest amount is a step towards your financial security. And over time, you will be able to achieve this goal. Let's make an analogy, which is always a good way to understand things. Imagine you are a great adventurer, and life is uncharted territory. Without an emergency fund, it's as if you were walking through this territory without a map, without protective equipment. With your reservation, you are like a true explorer, with your complete kit, backpack, flashlight, rope, and everything else. Nothing will surprise you, and you will be ready for any challenge that arises. Now let me tell you a story about how a good emergency fund can save the day. I once met a friend, Thor. He worked as a freelancer and had a very peaceful life, until, suddenly, a big project was cancelled, and he was left with no money for the month. Without an emergency fund, Joao had to take out a high-interest loan to cover the bills. But if he had prepared with a reserve, he would have avoided all this headache. And best of all, you would have had more time and energy to focus on what really matters, your work and your dreams. Oh, and there's something else. Did you know that when you have an emergency fund, you also improve your financial health in general? That's right. Not having to worry about unforeseen circumstances helps you make wiser decisions about your other investments and expenses. When you know that you can deal with everyday problems without breaking your budget, you will feel calmer and can focus on growing financially. This brings us to a golden lesson. Never, ever underestimate the power of having an emergency fund. It is not a luxury, it is a necessity. And, just like a good investment strategy, a good emergency fund requires discipline. It will require you to give up some small luxuries for a while, but in the end, you will reap the rewards of this decision. Now, tell me, have you ever thought about how much you would spend per month if something unforeseen happened? Make this calculation, and in the next step, we'll find out how to start building your emergency fund. Let's go! I'm with you on this one. Now, let me give you a valuable tip. Whenever possible, choose a separate account for your reservation. This prevents you from having the temptation to touch that money. It could be a savings account, an emergency fund with good profitability, but the important thing is that it is easily accessible in times of need, without being tempting to use it for something else. There's no secret, just get started. Now below we will discover how to build your emergency fund. Let's continue on this journey towards prosperity together. Now that you understand the importance of having an emergency fund, it's time to put this knowledge into practice. But how to start? Where to put this money? And how much do you need to save? Don't worry, Scrooge McDuck is here to guide you as always. First, let's start at the beginning. How much do you need? Well, as I mentioned before, the ideal is to have a reserve capable of covering 3 to 6 months of your essential expenses. And what are these essential expenses? These are those things that you absolutely need to pay every month, like food, rent, electricity, water, and gas bills. We're not talking about luxuries like expensive dinners or that streaming subscription you love. We're talking about the essentials. Now, How do you know the exact value of your reservation? A simple way to do this is to calculate your total essential monthly expenses and multiply that amount by 3, 4, 5, or even 6, depending on your situation. Oh, and of course, it's not worth including things that can be quickly cut, like entertainment or unnecessary purchases. The goal is to have an amount that will keep you safe for a reasonable amount of time in the event of an emergency, such as losing your job or an unexpected expense, such as a car repair or a medical emergency. Now, I know what you're thinking, Uncle Scrooge, that's a lot of money. How am I going to put it all together? Well, here comes the trick of accumulating this amount without despairing. It's not about putting everything together at once, but about building your fund little by little, with discipline and planning. The secret is the power of small steps. Let's talk about how you can start with an affordable amount and grow your savings over time. Let's say you start with a modest goal, like $500 or $1,000. It may seem like little, but over time, the habit of saving will make you create a snowball of money. You can start by setting aside a portion of what you earn each month, even if it's just 10% of your salary or income. At first, it may seem like little, but in a few months you will see this amount growing. The key here, my friend, is consistency. I always say that if you put your money to work in an intelligent and disciplined way, it will help you get to where you want. A good trick is to automate this process, causing part of your salary or income to be automatically transferred to your reserve. This way, you won't even notice, and the money will accumulate. Now, it is very important that you choose the right place to store this reserve. There is no point in making bets or taking unnecessary risks here. We're talking about security, remember. Don't put that money in high-risk investments, like stocks or cryptocurrencies, where it could melt quickly if the market doesn't cooperate. Your emergency fund needs to be accessible and safe, which means you should opt for low-risk investments, such as savings or a low-risk emergency fund that have immediate liquidity. The important thing is that you can access this money quickly when you need it. For example, imagine you have an emergency right now and need money quickly. If your reservation is in a savings account, for example, you can withdraw the amount whenever you need, without any headaches. Of course, savings won't bring you incredible income, but they are safe and easy to access. Another option is to invest in a low-risk emergency fund, such as CDBs with daily liquidity, which offer a slightly higher return than savings, but without major risks. Remember, it's not about growing your reserve quickly, but about having quick and secure access when needed. Now, to help you stay motivated and reach your goal faster, think about the rewards this will bring. Every dollar you put into your reserve is one more step towards greater peace of mind and financial freedom. And remember, you are creating a shield against the unexpected, like a true savings master. This is not just a question of numbers, it is a question of security, freedom, and confidence in your future. I know it may seem difficult at first, but don't worry. I will be here with you every step of the way. Start slowly, be disciplined, and you will soon see results. I've been through this journey myself, and I can assure you, the feeling of having an emergency fund is like a weight being lifted from your shoulders. Don't forget, with each month you save, you are building a more secure future and are closer to achieving the prosperity you deserve. Are you ready to take this next step? Have you started calculating how much you would need for your emergency fund? Now below is where we will talk about how to maintain your savings, protect yourself against temptations to spend it, and how to achieve true financial independence. Let's do it. We have reached the last part of our journey, and I hope you have learned a lot so far. Now, let's talk about how to keep your emergency fund safe, how to avoid the temptation to spend it, and how it will help you achieve true financial freedom. First of all, you are already on the right path. Having an emergency fund is like laying the first stone in the foundation of your financial castle. But what happens after you've built that foundation? How do you ensure it stays intact and, more importantly, that you stay on the path to prosperity? The first step, and perhaps the most difficult, is to ensure that you don't use your reserve for anything other than a real emergency. That's right, no buying that dream gadget or upgrading your home just because you saw an irresistible promotion. Your emergency fund is not a fund for luxury or vanity. It is a shield to protect you from life's unforeseen events. So when those temptations arise, Remember that this money has a greater purpose. An important tip to avoid using your reserve in non-emergency situations is to separate it into a different account, as we said before. If you are in the habit of automatically transferring part of your salary to this account, you will be creating a psychological barrier that helps maintain discipline. Remember, the harder it is to access this money, the easier it will be to resist the temptation to use it. But, come on, what if, by chance, you use some of your emergency fund? Don't panic. Life happens, and unforeseen events are, well, unforeseen. The idea is that you replace the value as quickly as possible. Remember that your financial security should be your priority. If you need to take a little from your fund, that's okay, but be quick to put it back, as if you were replenishing your piggy bank. Don't let this become a habit. Now, let's talk about the future, because when you have a good emergency fund, it not only protects you from adversity, but also gives you more freedom to make bolder and smarter financial decisions. Imagine being able to invest with more confidence, knowing that you have a safety cushion to support you. This makes all the difference when you start exploring the world of investments, stocks and real estate. Safety comes first, my friends, and then the sky is the limit. However, before entering this world of riskier investments, always keep in mind that an emergency fund should be your first and most important step. After securing your reservation, then you can start thinking about how to multiply that money more aggressively and with more risks. Furthermore, when you already have a solid emergency fund, your financial life begins to have a new flavor of freedom. No more worrying about the next bill or an unforeseen event that may arise. This allows you to make bolder decisions in your professional life, such as changing careers, starting a new project, or even investing in new ideas. After all, with the basis of your reservation guaranteed, you can take advantage of opportunities with much more security and peace of mind. Therefore, my friend, invest time and energy in creating and maintaining your emergency fund. It doesn't matter if you're starting small, the important thing is to start. And believe me, with every step you take, you are closer to achieving true financial freedom. Don't let unforeseen events catch you off guard. Before finishing, I want to leave you with a phrase that has always guided me throughout my financial life. True wealth is not measured by how much you have, but by how much you can maintain and grow over time. And that's exactly what you're doing when building your emergency fund. You are laying the first brick of your true wealth. So now it's up to you. Put into practice what you learned here and build your emergency fund. Remember that no matter how slow you go, the important thing is that you don't stop. The path to prosperity begins with this simple but fundamental step, and I know you will get there. Now, let me give you the final touch. Starting today, think of every penny you save as an investment in your future. You are building something great, and with each passing day, you are closer to achieving true financial freedom. And remember, as I always say, the secret to prosperity is not in what you earn, but in what you know how to do with what you already have. Let's do it, my friend. Prosperity awaits you.